Okay, we've just covered order winners, order qualifiers, and the regression of order qualifiers from order winners. Now what I'd like to hit is forecasted winners. Now when Terry Hill, who had come up with the concept that we discussed of order winners, order qualifiers, he never stepped into this new realm. Yet as a person who's paid to think, a person who's supposed to build, thinking about not just order winners and order qualifiers, that's kind of constant, that's today. What if you were to think about tomorrow and the intersection of developing forecasted winners that in the future you'll meet your customers' needs, your market needs, your employees' needs, and all the needs of your community or whatever you are servicing by thinking differently. Now, what is a forecasted winner? A forecasted winner is when you determine for yourself or determine for your organization through the analytics of cycles, trends, and patterns, through the conscious observation of how the world is changing, of geopolitical, economic, in terms of weather, you've been able to identify what tomorrow may look like and be able to meet tomorrow. So what that means is a person who's been able to pull together data and then create products and services that are now going to be the winners because we're moving into the future. Now, if you take that regression, we had an order qualifier, an order winner that moved to an order qualifier. Well, the forecasted winner will eventually be the order winner, and it will continually slide down, and that's the progression. So let's talk about how to be able to do this. Let me give you 3 specific areas that you can do or think about. I want you to not just look at your industry and not just look at the people that you're dealing with every day. I want you to play a little bit and think about globally. I want you to think about global markets and conditions. Often in my travels around the world, and I do about 300,000 miles of travel a year. I don't know if I've said that before, but I don't say it to boast, and I don't say it because it's bad. I say it because the meetings and conditions that I'm in, the situations I'm in, get me to see a very different perspective than being singular focused in one economy. So for example, this morning I was in a meeting, we talked about Malaysia, we talked about Singapore, we talked about Thailand, and we talked about China. And from people who live there and go there and know. And that helps me to make decisions that are better for people in Paris and London and New York and in Buenos Aires. To bring in that data allows me to help to generate forecasted winners for people. Well, the same thing for you. If you can expand your horizon, imagine the types of information that you could bring back to make better decisions. Now, it's also looking at the competition. And here's a scary part. There's a lot of competitive intelligence viewing out there, and I can tell you I'm going to go over it in a future chapter. But competition, I'm going to share with you one insight right now. Looking at the competition is actually more often than not looking at the past. Meaning, I've seen this so many times. Go look at the customer's products, pull them up online, see what services they're offering. Now stop for just a second and think about that. You're looking at a project that has been completed with the implementation of a product. When did that start? If we are in the nuclear reactor business, that could have started 10 years ago. If we are in the airline business, it could have been 15 years ago. If we were in the business of creating a hotel 10 years ago. If we're creating faucets, if we're creating bags, if we're creating shirts, if we're creating a floral garden or a spa, that's the result of old thinking. So you're actually looking at the past, not the future. So when you're looking at the competition, you need to project into the future. Another one that I would suggest that you be taking a look at or changing is keeping smart people around you who actually do this. There's something to be said about a synergy that you get when you're with people who think dynamically. I mean, just think, it doesn't matter what your hobbies are, your interests are. We could call it sports, we could call it music. There are times you sit around with people and they're like, yeah, I like music, I'm interested in music, I like music, yeah, that's good, that's music. And then you get somebody who says, oh my God, have you heard about this new song? They're working on this new album, it's gonna come out in 2 months, and the energy pumps, the interest comes. What if you were to put into your organization, in your forecasted winners, that type of personality, that type of interest, that someone who's forward-looking already? How would that change your organization? How would that change the way you think? So one of the suggestions, or a few of the suggestions I'll give you on how to be able to do this, create a future team. A future team, a future get-together, that once a month they get together and all they do is talk about the future. No negative, no that doesn't work, but the role of the people is to get together and paint a picture of tomorrow, tomorrow's products, tomorrow's customers, tomorrow's experiences, and be able to pull that together, make that exciting. Draw maps on walls, draw things on the ground, I don't care what it is, but a group of people they live in the future, they love it, they're future-oriented. You could also have your own small group meetings and ask people to come together, your teammates, the people you work with, ask them to come to every meeting and have maybe once a week or once a month, whatever you have yours, and have them have to bring something that's future-oriented, such as a magazine technology clip or a video component, something that forces them to be looking future. Think about how that would change if everybody's learning from one another. Now, the third tip I'm going to give you is a little bit more challenging, is that your role is to be the exemplar. It is to be the person who shows that you're there too. Now, the challenge with the future is this: it's always changing. You know, if you talk about the current and the past, you can easily do that because it's happening or it has happened. But for you, you always have to kind of keep moving yourself forward. What if you, every time, brought to a meeting something that talked about the future? Something small to get your team to be thinking that way, to get the other executives or the other leaders or the other non-leaders all to be moving forward. You start to create an environment of what ifs. You start to create an environment of connecting the dots. You start to create a knowledge organization that has the capacity to create amazing change in a positive way. Tie that together with what you're learning in Paid to Think. I'm going to tell you something. You are going to rapidly accelerate whatever desired outcomes you want. It's a great way to start. So with that, forecasted winners.